Believed I had a rock-solid partnership with my spouse, Denise, aged 41. We'd shared 15 years as a couple, with 12 of those in matrimony. 0 offspring, that was the pact we sealed right from the outset. 5 years into wedlock, she opted for tubal ligation, as we were utterly convinced of our stance. I backed her decision without reservation, chauffeured her to the operation, and nursed her back to health afterward. We crafted a secure existence, complete with a spacious residence, biannual getaways, and aspirations for retiring ahead of schedule. 3 weeks back, on a midweek night, we were midway through supper. Between mouthfuls of spaghetti, she sprang this revelation on me. Trevor had contacted her. He now yearns for offspring alongside her. Trevor being her former flame from prior to our union. The one true passion who discarded her for someone more youthful 16 years prior. I paused, then queried, "And you're sharing this with me because?" I'm pondering reversing my tubal ligation. My utensil slipped right from my grasp. I stammered, "Pardon?" He comprehended his error. "We've been in contact for several months. He desires a fresh start. A household alongside me. You've been conversing with your old beau for months, merely reconnecting. No intimacy involved." As if that softened the blow. "So you're intending to depart from me for Trevor. This is where the madness truly unfolded." "No, I have no intention of departing you. Trevor lacks the means to support children solo. He's jobless at present. Yet we possess the resources. Your income is substantial. The property is nearly mortgage-free. We could nurture them jointly." I gazed at her in disbelief, anticipating the jest. It never materialized. "You expect me to parent children from your previous partner?" He'd participate, merely not in monetary terms. He'd resemble a playful relative who drops by occasionally. A playful relative who's the genetic parent. You're framing it oddly? It is odd. She grew indignant, began lecturing on my narrow perspective, and how contemporary households manifest in diverse shapes, and how this might prove enchanting. How Trevor possesses creativity and empathy, and would impart unique principles to the children's upbringing. I replied, "Denise, we concurred on childlessness. You underwent procedure to guarantee no progeny. Individuals evolve. I'm permitted to alter my views." "You're permitted to alter your views. You're not permitted to introduce your former partner's progeny into our dwelling and anticipate my funding." Our dwelling, our funds, we're wedded. That's when realization dawned. This lady sincerely anticipated I'd finance her redo with Trevor. I responded, "Pursue your desires, Denise." She beamed, "Truly. You'd entertain it." I clarified, "No, I'm stating act on your wishes, but recognize I won't partake." The beam faded. The next morning, prior to my departure for the office, she was already scouring her computer for tubal reversal operations. That day, I placed 2 phone calls to my attorney and my wealth manager. Update 1. 7 days subsequent. The reversal operation was arranged remarkably swiftly. A private facility, accelerated schedule, $8,000 intervention. Guess whom she presumed would cover it. Early Monday, she pushed a credit approval document toward me over the morning meal. "Denise, merely require your endorsement. The facility demands upfront settlement. I'm declining to cover that. It's our shared funds. We're united in marriage. Funds for you to bear someone else's progeny? Firm refusal." She erupted in rage, yelling about my fiscal dominance and psychological coercion. Her sibling Greta rang an hour subsequently. "What's the deal with denying Denise essential treatment?" "Treatment? She seeks to undo sterilization for her prior partner's offspring. She's your partner. Partners aid one another. Aiding her excludes subsidizing her revival with Trevor. You're acting spiteful. Me, I'm acting sensible." Denise resorted to borrowing from her pension fund. $10,000 plus fines. She was enraged. I compelled her into that. Concurrently, I'd consulted my attorney, Howard. Solid fellow. Managed a peers separation. Meticulous. Howard, regarding this Trevor scenario. "Do you possess messages, correspondence?" She conceals nothing. She's boastful of it. Secure all in documented form, every dialogue on this setup. Thus, I shifted to messaging over verbal exchange. "To verify you're undergoing procedure for Trevor's genetic offspring?" "Affirmative. And you vowed to back me." I stated, "Pursue your desires." "I never consented to parenting another's progeny. You're my spouse. Naturally, you'll assist in rearing them. We're partners. What's Trevor's input to this partnership? He'll supply the DNA and sentimental aid, and monetarily. He's reconstructing his existence. You recognize this. Avoid harshness." Howard adored those exchanges, noted they'd prove invaluable. The operation was set for Friday. Thursday evening, Denise was assembling her overnight luggage. Humming contentedly, genuinely humming. Trevor's transporting me tomorrow. He insisted on being present for encouragement. How considerate, spare the mockery. This represents something wondrous, generating existence. With Trevor, you'll adore the offspring upon arrival. You'll comprehend. The fantasy was absolute. Friday morning, I telecommuted. At 9 a.m., post-confirmation of her clinic arrival, I launched the strategy. Submitted divorce petition. Howard had prepped all. 2. Immobilized all communal accounts as per legal counsel. Provisional judicial restriction amid separation process. 3. Redirected my payroll to a fresh personal account. 4. Revoked all shared charge cards where I held primary status. Altered my policy beneficiary to my sibling. 2 hours following the operation, my device buzzed incessantly. Not from Denise. She's in post-op phase. Her counsel, Mr. Morrison, Janet Whitfield speaking. I advocate for Denise Morrison. What on earth have you done? Initiated separation proceedings. I presume Denise detailed our circumstances? Janet, she's recuperating from procedure. You locked her finances while she's hospitalized. The moment is regrettable, but the choice stemmed from her selecting Trevor and his imagined progeny over our union. Janet, this constitutes fiscal mistreatment. Its safeguard of holdings during separation. Quite routine. She requires fund access. She possessed access. She expended 10 grand on procedure for another's progeny. Quiet. Then she claimed you consented to this setup. I hold messages disproving it. Care for duplicates. We'll communicate further. Update 2. The consequences. Denise returned home Saturday midday. Trevor delivered her. He refrained from entering, merely gestured from his dilapidated Honda. Prime paternal prospect. She moved gingerly. Still tender. Spotted the separation documents on the counter. The shriek might have cracked pains. Denise, what's this? Separation documents. Assumed that was evident. I underwent procedure mere hours ago to conceive another's progeny. Indeed, I'm cognizant. You instructed me to heed my inclinations. I did. And you acted accordingly. Now I'm acting on mine, guiding me to separation tribunal. She attempted the charge card for meal delivery. Rejected. Attempted ATM withdrawal. Account immobilized. Denise, how shall I procure sustenance? You possess your borrowed funds. Designated for infant outlays, for our infants. Encounter Trevor's infants, and there's no collective anymore. She summoned Greta, summoned her mother, summoned Trevor. The full entourage arrived Sunday dawn. Greta, you're a fiend. She's healing from procedure. Procedure I opposed, disapproved, and declined to finance. Denise's mother Betty. Union involves yielding. She desires I rear her prior beau's progeny while he acts paternal on select days. Where's the yielding? Trevor eventually interjected. Listen, fellow, I recognize this is non-traditional. Trevor, respectfully, be silent. You failed to retain her 16 years past. You lack funds for progeny now. Yet you persuaded her to demolish her union for your lineage. You're either a skilled influencer, or she's forfeited sanity. Regardless, no longer my concern. I cherish her. Then you finance all. I'm amid prospects currently. Astonishing. You're abandoning her destitute. She'll receive equitable portion in separation. But I'm not subsidizing Trevor's reproduction endeavor. She devoted her prime years to you, then resolved to devote the remainder to Trevor. Selections bear repercussions. They departed post-Denise weeping over incision discomfort. Greta assisted her to the spare chamber. Indeed, she's quartered in the spare chamber now. That night, Denise attempted sentimental leverage. Recall our nuptials? You vowed boundless devotion. I within bounds. Rearing your prior's progeny exceeds bounds. You might grow fond of them. I might master acrobatics too. Doesn't imply I ought. Trevor claims you're intimidated by him. Trevor's jobless and seeking his prior to sponsor his heritage. I'm not intimidated. I'm repulsed. Monday, she intensified. Broadcast on online platforms. Certain males falter when females select their route. Dominant conduct equates to mistreatment. Fiscal mistreatment, my form, my determination. Responses varied. Her circle rallied. Mine discerned the truth, my pal Teeth remarked. Wasn't her route toward her prior partner? She erased the entry after a query. Hold on, pertains to Trevor. The one who jilted you for a 22-year-old, 2 weeks post-procedure. Denise engaged Janet permanently. They launched aggressively with stipulations. 1. Complete sustenance for half a decade. 2. The property. 3. 50% my pension. 4. Reimbursement for health expenses. The reversal intervention. 5. Prospective progeny sustenance for conceivable offspring. Howard chuckled. Genuinely chuckled. Howard, prospective progeny sustenance for non-existent offspring with another? Ingenious. We responded with routine holding split. No sustenance. She holds employment. She retains her borrowing obligation. Absolute severance. Janet retaliated with claims of fiscal scheming and generative duress. Generative duress? She's pursuing procedure to generate with another. The conciliation was timetabled. Thursday, 2 p.m. Meeting space at Howard's office. Denise arrived accompanied by Trevor. At our separation conciliation, Howard, rationale for Mr. Garrison's attendance? I'm furnishing sentimental backing. This constitutes judicial affair. He's my companion now. Since when? Since you forsook me. Janet, my ward was compelled to solicit aid externally when Mr. Morrison retracted all fiscal and sentimental backing. He retracted backing for financing another's progeny. Marginally distinct, we circled for 2 hours. Denise maintained she required the property for the infants. Which infants? Their attempting conception, evidently. Trevor perched nodding like a dashboard ornament. Ultimately, the conciliator queried Denise outright. Mrs. Morrison, accurate that you're intending progeny with Mr. Garrison while soliciting aid from Mr. Morrison? Denise, the progeny merit aid irrespective of genetics. Progeny that lack existence, they shall exist with Mr. Garrison? Affirmative. Conciliator, then Mr. Garrison should furnish aid. I'm a creator, my craft concerns not currency. The conciliator's expression was incomparable. No accord achieved. Howard petitioned accelerated separation based on irreparable discord and forsaking marital pledge. Meanwhile, Denise and Trevor simulated domesticity in my property. She'd accommodated him provisionally as his lodger evicted him, likely over unpaid dues. I resided in my siblings' extra space. Covered the housing payment on a dwelling I couldn't occupy due to the star-crossed duo constructing nest. Friday evening received message from adjacent resident. Trevor's rearranging furnishings. Believed you'd appreciate awareness, my furnishings, in my dwelling, repositioned by the jobless creator. Update 4, the prohibition mandate. Denise propelled matters to inconceivable extremes. She altered the entry mechanisms on my dwelling. The one solely titled to me, acquired pre-union, appeared Saturday to retrieve attire. Entry failed. I summoning via portal. Denise, grant access. You're unwelcome here, dude. It's my dwelling. Denise resides here. You forsook her. I'm summoning authorities. Proceed, proceed. Narrate how you perpetrated fiscal mistreatment upon me. Authorities arrived. Patrolman appeared weary prior to my narration. Patrolman, thus your spouse resides here. Estranged spouse. Separation underway. Dwelling is mine. Pre-union holding. Patrolman, yet she resides here. She modified mechanisms while I quartered elsewhere to evade discord. Patrolman, gentlemen, this qualifies as civic dispute. You'll address it judicially. Trevor, from threshold, you heard, depart. The grin on his countenance, the genuine grin. Monday, Howard submitted urgent plea for sole occupancy of abode. Magistrate timetabled for Wednesday. Tuesday night, I received summons. Denise submitted prohibition mandate, alleged I harassed her and menaced Trevor. The filing stated I appeared confrontationally at dwelling. I've dominated finances to coerce her. I'm obstructing her family inception. She apprehends peril. Howard was incensed. This manifests evident scheming. She's endeavoring to secure occupancy and depict me as assailant. Wednesday's session was spectacle. Denise appeared in expectant attire. She's not expecting. Procedure mere 2 weeks prior. Yet there she stood, palm on barren midsection, enacting victim. Janet contended I was economically tormenting a female pursuing her nurturing fate. Howard submitted, the title indicating my exclusive possession. Message exchanges on Trevor and progeny. Fiscal logs displaying the $10K borrowing she incurred. Neighbor surveillance depicting Trevor relocating in. This concerns Morrison. Are you expecting? Not immediately, but ideally shortly. With Mr. Garrison's progeny, affirmative. While wed to Mr. Morrison, he forsook me. By declining to rear another's progeny, quiet. Prohibition mandate, rejected. Sole occupancy awarded to me. They held 48 hours to depart. Denise shrieked, genuinely shrieked in tribunal. This equates to prejudice. I possess entitlements. Magistrate, you possess entitlement to advance your liaison with Mr. Garrison. In alternative locale, update 5. The relocation debacle Friday, relocation day. I enlisted retired law enforcers for safeguarding, finest $400 expenditure ever. Denise and Trevor materialized with rental van at 8 a.m. Greta attended. Betty attended. Even Trevor's mother materialized. A lady I'd never encountered who promptly commenced berating on inequity, Trevor's mother. You're casting my offspring to vagrancy. Your 38-year-old jobless offspring entangled with my spouse. Indeed, I'm the villain. They commenced packing crates. Denise wept, ensuring visibility of her sorrow. Then Trevor endeavored to claim my video display. That's mine. Certainly Denise utilizes it. Thus, it's mine, proofs in my archive, avoid triviality, dude, declares the individual coupling with my spouse. One enforcer advanced. Gentleman replaced the display. Trevor retreated swiftly. Genuine valor. Greta attempted subsequently. Denise requires furnishings for fresh abode, then she ought to acquire some. Greta, using which currency you immobilized all. She maintains employment. Trevor's a visionary. Resolve it. Betty extracted her device, commenced filming. This illustrates fiscal mistreatment, compelling a female from her abode. It's unequivocally my abode, Marshall holding. Howard, present to monitor. Pre-union holding, precisely. Here's the title. Betty persisted filming regardless, murmuring on disseminating footage and equity. The true theatrics emerged when Denise endeavored to claim my ancestors' meal ensemble. Categorically not, we chose it jointly. For my ancestors' dispersal auction with my currency. I require it for the infants. Which infants? You underwent procedure recently. The impending infants. Trevor's infants, our infants. No collective exists. Exists you and Trevor. Abandon the ensemble. She dissolved into sobs. You're utterly heartless. I squandered 15 years upon you. Peculiar depiction of union. You're departing for your prior. Trevor advanced. Torso inflated. You must exhibit deference. Deference? You're overtly appropriating my spouse and attempting to appropriate my display. Exit. They ultimately departed circa 2 p.m. Van partially vacant as most items were genuinely mine. Denise's farewell barb. You'll lament this upon solitary demise. Preferable to rearing Trevor's progeny. Update 6. The repercussions 3 days post-relocation. Denise and Trevor quartered with Greta. Evidently harmony faltered. Received summons from Greta. Initial instance she'd sounded fatigued over irate. They require fiscal aid. Negative, I'm not soliciting for them. I'm inquiring as they're rendering me deranged and necessitate independent quarters. Still negative. Trevor abstains from employment pursuit. Claims he's assimilating relocation distress. Aligns perfectly. Denise persists in progeny nomenclature discourse. She's not even expecting yet they're endeavoring. Audibly, in my spare chamber, my offspring pose inquiries. And you desire my assistance? Deity, you're accurate. This is derangement. What possessed her? The fissures appeared. Concurrently, the separation progressed. Janet decelerated responses to Howard. Denise's stipulations grew frantic. Recent proposal. She'd accept $50 immediate and depart. Howard, that's reasonably tolerable. She engaged infidelity with her prior and desired I rear his progeny. She merits routine split, not additional. You compelled my eviction from my abode for 2 weeks. She modified my mechanisms. She merits no surplus. Thursday, received message from unidentified contact. Trevor. We require dialogue peer-to-peer. Decline, I'm striving for decorum here. You're coupling with my spouse. That vessel has departed. She's separating from you. She's not your spouse. I still legally bound? Brilliant. I require your awareness that I'll nurture her. Using which currency? Affection requires no currency. Infants do. Absent my purse. Fortune. He persisted messaging. Lengthy passages on fate and bond and their predestined union. How I obstructed authentic romance. You possessed opportunity 16 years prior. You selected someone more youthful. Now you're impoverished and require sustenance provider. Denise volunteered, not my affair. You're resentful. I'm pragmatic, cease messaging, obstructed him. Friday midday Denise materialized at my workplace. Safeguards alerted me she appeared disheveled, locks unwashed, no cosmetics, identical garments from 3 days prior. Denise. We require dialogue. Via advocates exclusively, I'm expecting. My circulation chilled momentarily. So swiftly, procedure 3 weeks past. Physician indicated feasibility. Felicitations, Trevor must be elated. He is. Yet we necessitate aid. Negative. The infant merits innocence. The infant constitutes Trevor's duty. You're genuinely permitting an offspring to endure. I'm genuinely permitting Trevor to manage his progeny. She commenced weeping. Distorted weeping. Safeguard appeared uneasy. I erred gravely. Multiple errors. I ought to have consulted you initially. You ought to have remained loyal to our union. We can reconcile. You're purportedly expecting Trevor's progeny and soliciting reconciliation. You could serve as paternal figure, akin to fostering. The safeguard truly stifled a guffaw. Denise, depart residence. To Greta's or whichever, merely depart. This concludes not. Indeed, it does. Final update. 2 months subsequent. The separation concluded last week. Here's the resolution for all. Holding allocation was conventional 50-50 of union holdings. The property remained mine, pre-union. Yet I compensated her portion of value increase. Justified to expel her. She departed with approximately $73 aggregate, not the bounty anticipated. Yet not void, the expectation proved fabrication. Revelation. Greta verified Denise menstruated 2 weeks post that workplace episode. She was never expecting, merely frantic. Trevor endured precisely 34 days post-separation conclusion. Once actuality struck, no property, no fiscal conduit, no opulent existence, merely Denise's $73 depleting rapidly on deposits and ensembles. He fled. His departure was lamentable even by Trevor metrics. Denise awoke to inscription. Require self-discovery. This falters. Apologies. He appropriated $5,000 she'd extracted for infant ensembles for the illusory infant and vanished. Denise rang me sobbing at 2 a.m. He forsook me. I okay. That's your sole response? I would anticipated your response. I sacrificed all for him. Indeed, you did. You must revel. I'm apathetic. I desire return home. That's no longer your abode. We shared 15 fine years, and you discarded them for Trevor. She terminated call. Per Greta, who messages sporadically, we're oddly amicable now. Denise occupies a single-chamber unit, laboring extra to manage outlays. She's experimented with pairing platforms, but disclosing she recently undid sterilization for her prior's progeny evidently deters suitors. Who anticipated? Trevor. Broadcast on image sharing from Costa Rica last week. Self-discovery via creation and escapade. Accompanied by another female. More youthful naturally, Betty rang once endeavoring to coerce aid for Denise. Betty, she's faltering. She's mature who enacted selections. She was bewildered. She was scheming, it merely misfired. Don't you sense emotion, liberation, and truthfully? That's factual, the abode is serene. I refreshed all decor. Secured advancement at employment sans domestic turmoil impacting output. Initiated casual pairing, not grave. Yet she's never alluded to desiring I subsidize her prior's progeny, thus already superior. The utmost regrettable aspect. Denise dispatched a holiday greeting, with image of her beside forlorn diminutive holiday arbor in her unit. Within it read, reflecting on superior eras, perhaps fresh annum, fresh prospects. I messaged Greta. Did Denise genuinely dispatch me a holiday greeting? She's persuaded you'll reinstate her eventually. Grounded on what? Fantasy, chiefly. She persists claiming you two are destined. We were destined until Trevor messaged. She deems him the error now, the error that forfeited her all. She comprehends. Excellent. The latest awareness, Denise contemplates relocation to origin locale. Leasing's economical and she could quarter with progenitors. Betty would adore that. She could remind Denise daily of my malevolence while Denise assimilates Trevor exploited her akin to inexpensive instrument. As for me, existence thrives, tranquil, turmoil absent. The manor union ought prior to my spouse, deeming her jobless prior's DNA superior to our shared existence. She desired I rear Trevor's progeny. She encountered Trevor's dedication caliber instead. She desired to heed her inclinations. It directed her to single-chamber unit and overburdened charge. The presumption was monumental. The expectation I'd comply, derogatory. The astonishment at repercussions, invaluable. Do I regret? Occasionally nocturnal, I recall fine eras. Then I recall her positioned opposite, enthusiastically delineating how I'd finance Trevor's descendants while he enacted sporadic paternity. And any compassion dissipates. She enacted her selection. I enacted mine. The variance is I coexist with mine. Trevor's persists in self-discovery in Costa Rica. Denise discovers initiating anew at 41 with naught, but obligations and fantasy isn't the amorous quest envisioned. And me, I'm discovering serenity and dignity surpass any liaison founded on presumption and disloyalty. Finest $73 expenditure to reclaim my existence.